I'm Luke.
I'm Eric.
I'm Nathan.
And this is Coffee Unfiltered.
Good job.
I'm scrolling through Twitter.
Oh, you poor man.
Yeah. I like it more than Facebook.
You're a tweeter?
I do tweet. Yeah, follow me. Description below, you'll see my stuff. And I came across this question. I was interested to see what you guys have an answer for this. They said, I just saw the craziest thing happen while I was driving.
So I tweet about it while I'm driving.
Yeah, so they're like, oh, I just saw this. I was wondering what's the craziest thing you've ever seen while you were driving?
Oh.
I'll go first so you kind of know what we're talking about. I once I was sitting in an intersection, and it wasn't like busy, but it wasn't slow either. Like there was a steady flow of traffic,
Sure.
and there were lights, and it was like an overpass and cars coming. And it was already like a tough turnout. We're sitting there, and this car drives by fairly slow, and the lady is sitting at the wheel reading a paperback book as she's driving the car.
Right. Progressing
And
herself.
so, progressing herself. And so she's sitting there driving going,
That seems dangerous.
yeah, it seems dangerous. I remember sitting there going, what?
I think it's admirable.
I think it's admirable.
Oh, yeah. Not a minute wasted.
Yeah, she's too busy.
And you know what? When she winds up in the hospital, she'll have plenty of free time.
Yeah.
No, you guys think it's weird, but when we have these cars
Weird
that
is
driving
weird is not the
themselves,
word.
this lady's going to say, I've been doing this for
Yeah, I've been practicing. Now, I'm not trying to defend her in any aspect, but this was like 10 years before audiobooks were a thing. So she didn't really
So you just have to, if you're
and
in your
podcasts
book,
weren't a thing.
and you're like, I gotta read the next chapter, you gotta go for it.
You gotta read it. But like, at that point, I remember thinking, what? Like, she's gonna read it. And she may have not then, but she probably did eventually.
Yeah, reading
but
gets you pretty deeply involved in
And that's my next
the
question.
page.
How much do you think she retained from that?
I don't know. I will say,
Because like I get distracted. Like if I hear my wife doing something in the other room, like I will get distracted and have to reread the pages, like the paragraphs.
yeah, that's true.
But I'm not driving.
Like if you're reading and then you start thinking about something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like other cars
Well,
and stoplights.
it's hard to say. Like I don't know. If you, it depends on how engaged you are with. Like you can drive kind of on autopilot, and it's not super safe. But like they say that you get to the point where if you're driving the same route every day, you're kind of on autopilot. And so probably if you're on that kind of a route, I don't know. I think the switching of attention between the page and the road would be hard. And the problem is if you get drawn into it for like half a second longer than you should be, then you'll have a wreck.
Yeah, and so like it's way worse than texting.
And honestly, by half a second longer, it's probably like you get drawn into it for half a
Yeah.
second while you're driving.
So like there's this constant. You're half in the book and half driving.
Yeah.
And so your focus is split.
Yeah, I'm unfazed by this because...
You're unfazed by it.
I'm
All right.
unfazed.
First, before you go, if you are reading a book and driving, stop.
Yes. And I'll be
Go
candid.
audio.
I'll be candid. So I'll put YouTube videos on, and I don't generally watch them, but I'll listen to them. Like it's videos and podcasts.
So that's what you're just listening to a podcast.
Now here's the thing.
You're listening to
There was
Coffee Unfiltered in your car, is what you're saying.
Right. That's exactly what I'm listening to. And what because I like hearing myself.
That's right.
And one of now I made the mistake one time of putting something on that actually like had more interesting visual content. And like my eyes were drawn to it, and I was like, "Nope, not doing this." And so I stopped that.
Yeah.
Like after and I didn't hit anything. It didn't come close to hitting anything. But I was like, "Yeah, there was a moment there where I was like, wait a second, I'm driving. I should stop this."
Dude, I had a friend he had a paper route, and like when you're on a paper route, you're going like 5 miles an hour because you're stopping at every house. And he had a laptop, and he put it up on his dashboard and just like turned on Austin Powers. And he was just watching Austin Powers while he was delivering papers. But it was 3 a.m. There were no other cars.
Again, like audio for me is fine, but
it's going 5 miles an hour.
Once
still
you put
not
visual,
legal. Still shouldn't have done it. But.
Yeah. Video gets hard. That's my take on it.
Unfazed.
So when you say unfazed, do you just mean like you're not alarmed, or you're not?
I'm saying that this lady is bush league. That there are things and ways to perfect this that are much more complex. Like let me just tell you about my normal driving.
Oh boy, this
So
is
my
scary.
normal driving.
This is how you drive.
This is how I drive every day
So
for work.
any officers might understand.
Officers driving by, company vehicle, company insurance.
Are you sure you want to say that?
We're all good.
Okay.
And every
Just
day,
believe everything he said.
every day there is a audiobook playing.
Okay.
There is a Google Maps leading me away,
Okay.
Oh, I feel like everyone does Google Maps these days.
and I'm playing RuneScape or a video
God,
game
stop.
That's where. Okay.
all at the same time.
Well,
But do you do it while you're moving or when you're stopped?
No, it doesn't stop.
Well, RuneScape, you like hit a button and it goes. But it's like people playing Pokemon Go while they're driving. It's essentially the same
It is, but that's what I'm saying. Like just the complexities of having to navigate 3 or 4
thing. Are you
different.
also drinking coffee?
Oh, I'm eating chicken nuggets for breakfast. I got one knee on the wheel.
Remind me never to write your
No,
insurance.
I'm just saying. I'm saying, like, I am the Bert from Mary Poppins. Got his knees hitting cymbals and his harmonica in his mouth and
One
he's
man
beating
band.
the drum
Gotcha.
of driving.
It's
So,
pretty impressive that people can actually do that.
Oh, it is.
Not the driving, the music.
No, I
The
agree.
driving, you
I-
need to not
I-
do that.
I agree.
Like, you had me until you got to RuneScape.
Yeah.
That was the point where I was like, I feel like that's too much.
You can't live in your childhood nostalgia while driving. Life's not worth it.
Well,
I went, speaking of the one-man band, went to the Renaissance Festival last year. Speaking of, this year you need to go with us. It's a lot of
You
fun.
know, for the 4th year in a row, I would love to go, and I hope that I can.
Okay, 2 weeks.
For the 4th year in a row, I will not be attending the Renaissance
It really snuck up on us this year. Wait.
as it does.
There's a girl there. She has like her face painted and stuff. You know, she's can't really be her, but she'll play the violin. She's playing a ditty, and she's like doing the bass drum beat at the same time.
That should be hard.
Yeah, and it's super
Is
impressive.
it in the same? Is it in the same beat or is it in alternating beats? Because that's
No.
where- if it's in the same beat, easy. If
You
it's
mean
in
like
al-
she's just keeping time?
Yeah.
No, she does.
because you can tap your feet when you're playing violin.
No, she does
You
rhythms.
also know if there's a double foot pedal action.
There's no double foot pedal.
Wow,
No,
she's good.
no. But she plays it. She does rhythms, and then like when the songs get more intense, like the drum gets more intense as well.
Trying to
It
think if
gets
that would
more
be hard for
complex.
So I'm saying that's nothing. I got the double foot pedal going while I'm driving the whole time too.
Most people do. I also have 2 pedals. I drive a manual. I have 3 pedals.
me. Well, what could
I think
you
that would throw me off.
because I play
The third
violin.
pedal.
The third pedal.
The third pedal's
I
weird.
couldn't do everything if I had it.
If you had a third pedal, you got to decide Chick-fil-A or the third pedal
One's got to go.
or the clutch.
Huh. I'm just
You
trying
think you
to.
could do it?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Okay.
So I mean, like
so-
I was in marching band, so I was playing saxophone and remembering where I was going, stuff to do.
doing your swings
Yeah.
of the saxophone.
Yeah, so there was so much going on at that time.
Like if it's with the beat, it feels like it wouldn't be that hard.
Yeah,
If it's, it depends on how much alternate from the beat. That's
I mean, she wasn't going crazy, but enough to be like, oh, she's doing that by herself.
okay. Okay. I will be impressed in absentia.
I'll be impressed when she does it behind the wheel of the car. So until then,
So,
I'm not paying for the Renaissance Fair. I need more.
so it's the craziest thing you've seen.
Oh
You've
man.
seen.
See, yeah, my car.
Most people are looking at you. I get it, but
I-
what's the craziest thing you've seen?
No, you mean like there was this guy. And he was,
No. Yeah, there's not been too much. I mean, I've seen some crazy stuff. I've seen people have sex in cars.
really?
While it's going?
Oh yeah. Now,
Is one of them
but you
driving?
said. See, that's what you said. Driving. Like so, when you talk
Yeah,
about what
driving.
you've seen in a car,
Like-
you have passenger, you
No.
have driver, you have backseat action.
No.
You don't know what
I
could
mean,
be happening.
This specific question is someone at the wheel.
Okay, at the wheel.
Yeah, because the person I saw literally had her paperback book open, and her hands were like holding the book open and gripping the top of the wheel at the same time.
Yeah, I think honestly, as I just described, I have enough things to focus on while driving.
You're
He
not.
doesn't look at other
So-
things.
You're not worried about
so
other
I'm not
cars.
typically looking at other cars.
Yeah.
I'm just ensuring
Dude,
that I don't. hit
so
one.
that's so funny that you do all that, and I have cut down to where I don't even listen to the radio 90% of the time. No, I drive in silence.
Is there a reason? Are you looking for safety?
No.
Or?
Well, one,
If you write, story ideas are easier to think
yeah.
through.
So I think about a lot of stuff, but also like I work 3 miles from home, 5 miles. So like I'm not in the car.
So like
that
I'm
long.
not investing
Yeah.
in anything for this next 3 minutes.
But no, most of it's just done thinking.
Hmm.
I think a lot in the morning.
Sure. Like a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I go to the bathroom. I think.
I do that too.
My wife's like,
I do that.
she's
too.
like, you have stomach problems.
And like I like,
I'm like,
So no, it's all in my head.
you know,
I'm
like,
like, yeah, I do.
yeah, I like the radio.
I'm just going to the bathroom to be quiet and get some
Yeah,
silence.
that's what you have 2 kids. You're just escaping. No, I like the radio. I like singing. I like doing all that, but I like just sitting in silence and thinking, man. That's what I like to do.
Like to hear yourself.
No, I like to hear the whispers in my mind, the crazy
the
people.
voices.
Yeah, the voices. The voices. So it's interesting that you're just complex, and I'm just now. It's also a little tough because like I drive a manual, so I can't do other stuff with my hands.
And you got that third pedal action. It changes everything.
Well, and like my right hand's constantly shifting,
Yeah.
and like because the roads I'm taking are hills, like I don't have time to just.
Yeah, I'm just dipping.
So like I think a good way to fix the texting and driving is give everyone manual cars because you can't text and drive.
That would change everything.
I suppose. Well,
Both your hands are busy.
Save a bunch of gas mileage while you're at it.
I do save a ton of gas mileage.
Also, you just go 3 miles. So
Nathan, Nathan, do you have any crazy car
honestly,
stories?
I can't think of anything memorable that has popped up. Like I'm sure I've seen some weird things, but it's just kind of
Phased out.
my brain did not retain it. My brain's like, you saw some weird stuff. It wasn't important.
Yeah, it wasn't that weird. I've
Yeah.
seen more.
Yeah.
So,
like,
all right, let's see.
I mean, I saw somebody putting makeup on, but that's not weird.
That's pretty common.
I saw someone put
I just
It
saw someone
was-
put-
it
The
was-
lunacy of that woman.
There was a moment where I was like,
It
huh.
wasn't a man. That would have been a little bit weird.
Well, okay, so I was in the car with somebody who put makeup on once, and I was like, that
Was it-
seems.
Did you just offer to drive?
It was a
No.
YouTube makeup tutorial happening in the car.
Yeah.
Well, like I was like, this seems
That would've been
dangerous. And somebody told me that it was called barding.
Barding?
That there was-
Farting, I do it in the car all
that there
the
was,
time.
no, that
All
there
the
was an
time.
actual name for doing that, and I
Really?
didn't know that. I don't know.
If you know the name out there, comment below.
But and they might have just been making it up so that they could tell me that something was called farting. But but yeah, so that was the thing. And so, but I very rarely saw it ever again. And so, but I was told that people did it all the time, which I believe. But I only saw it.
Well, people do it. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
but I
I've seen
always
multiple people
saw
do
it once, and so it I guess made an impression on me, but not much.
Well, I've seen that multiple times. Like driving by and other people do. I don't put on makeup in the car, but I've seen other people do.
All you farters up there, don't let Nathan catch you in the car.
Right, because then I'll remember you in your face, or kind of vaguely remember that I saw somebody doing it.
So can we escalate this?
I gotta know.
Please
Hold
do.
on. I gotta
Okay.
know what was the craziest thing that Twitter person saw in the car.
I don't remember what she said, but it wasn't anything.
It's probably a murder.
Probably murder.
I'm trying to.
That would be memorable, I would think. Maybe a little traumatic.
I should have looked it up before we started. I don't remember. It wasn't anything crazy. I remember thinking like, "Oh, honey."
So it was just a question of like, what was your
Not
most
the
memorable?
craziest.
And then you had all the Reddit people come out, well, except for this wasn't.
Yeah,
Reddit,
I mean,
it's
hers
Twitter.
wasn't that
It
bad.
sounds like a Reddit thread.
No, it was on Twitter. It was on Twitter. I mean, it could have been a Reddit thread.
Yeah.
But this like hers was kind of like the equivalent of just like eating some chicken nuggets. Like hers wasn't that bad.
Like someone
The
picking,
equivalent
picking their
of eating some
nose.
chicken nuggets.
You know, like if you're eating chicken nugget, you're dipping it in sauce, like that complex.
I've done that.
Yeah, everyone's done that.
Maybe not
You
everyone.
just reach into the bag of fries and shove them in your mouth. Everyone's done that.
Well, the hard part is if you get ketchup on those fries.
I'll see if it pops into my mind later. Let's see if we can escalate this a little higher. What's the craziest thing you've ever seen on an airplane?
That implies that I've been on it. No,
Have you never flown?
I have.
So I've only flown like 3 or 4 times, and I don't
Like this feels like a question that's bound to disappoint everyone who's watching.
Yeah.
Because I've flown like three or four times. I will tell you the craziest thing that I've ever done in an airport.
wait to that. I'm trying to get this answer. You go ahead.
Well, so
you
one
done
time,
in an airport?
yeah, one time I made about $15 playing the violin in an airport while I was
Wait,
waiting for a connecting flight.
You just pulled out your violin and started going?
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
They didn't stop?
No, it was a small airport, or it might not have been a small airport, but where I was not busy, and it was.
So her Twitter post, I'm not going to say who it was. Her Twitter post was.
It was Regina.
Sneezing is without a doubt the most dangerous and terrifying thing you can do while driving.
You know, I don't think so.
I agree.
Closing your eyes for half a second.
I mean, it is dangerous, but it's not worse than
Sneezing has levels. So like,
oh,
so
that.
you
mean like
if you have like
if it's
the
like
effeminate like that, which I think like maybe they closed
or
half
like
an
the
eye,
sneezing
like maybe
fits,
there's like a little blink on that one. But if you're that person that's like, and then you blow, like that's a 6-second delay at which your eyes are not focused on what's in front of you.
Okay, I can maybe give that.
So like,
Okay.
I would agree with that. If you're a quick sneezer,
If you're just like,
get out of
real
here.
quick.
You're
Well, I
just
mean, I feel like
yeah.
everybody has those moments occasionally.
everyone sneezes.
Well, yeah, but like
Everyone farts, everyone sneezes, Nathan. Yeah, we have established.
everyone has a body that works as bodies do. But yeah.
But yeah, so you think sneezing is worse than reading a book?
No.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, there was always people growing up that you had like those girls
I would disagree.
that would have like sneezing fits, and they would sneeze like 15 to 20 times in a row.
So that's.
And I'm like, that person is
Well,
gonna,
that's like
is gonna
but
kill
you could say,
everyone.
You know what you could also say? Having an epileptic seizure is one of the scariest and worst things you could do in a car.
That's on point.
I had a
Like,
friend.
that's-
I had a
that's
friend
pretty
who.
close.
I had a friend who got out of a speeding ticket because of that.
Because they were having an epileptic seizure.
So he was epileptic, and the cop pulled him over and came up to the door, and he was speeding, and he even admitted, like, no, I was speeding, but he said, I'm epileptic, I'll have a seizure, can you turn off your lights?
Gotcha.
Because the lights would trigger his seizure, and the cop went and turned off his lights and drove off.
I have a
That seems. I thought like it had to be pretty severe flashing for like somebody to have an epileptic seizure.
I don't know, I mean, I think if you're epileptic, like, strobe lights,
yeah,
red and
it's
blue,
always just some kind of manifestation.
non-stop,
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty intense.
It is pretty
Speaking
intense.
of cops, I had a cop pull a gun on me the other day.
Wait,
On the
the
side.
other day, as in
like a week ago.
what?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Okay, what happened?
So apparently,
You don't have to say his name, where we're at.
yeah, it doesn't matter.
No
It
incrimination.
doesn't matter.
Cop
And
bomb.
I'm for the police. No problem.
just prefer not to.
I watched a lot of Law and Order growing up. I'm down with the government. But
I feel like that's a whole other. Okay, go ahead.
that's another conversation. But yeah, so apparently, like if you
Apparently, robbing a bank is illegal.
no,
Who knew?
apparently if you live like if all your interactions with the police have been from like scripted television shows, you're setting yourself up for a bad experience.
Yeah, that agreed.
So I haven't had a lot of interactions getting pulled over, and I know times are pretty crazy right now. So with just people getting shot and
Put your
people-
hands on your wheel.
yeah, hands on your wheel, everything. And so I got pulled over. I was doing a little bit of speeding.
Not you.
Yeah.
I've ridden in the car with you, and then you
Yeah,
don't
I'm not
speed
a
ever.
Yeah, he says he was. It's yet to be proven. I'm not
Okay.
gone to court over it yet. But so he pulls over, and I'm like, I'd already gotten in a wreck earlier in the month, so I was like, I don't need this ticket. So I'm like, I'm gonna be as respectful as possible. I'm gonna do everything I can. So I turn off my keys out of the ignition, and I just put them on the side. And I'm like, he's not gonna think I'm a threat. And he,
He's gonna think you're super weird.
yeah, well, I'm thinking like he's gonna be
Because you
like,
took the keys out of
yeah,
the ignition.
I took the keys out of the car. He's like, that guy's not going anywhere. So I took the keys out of the car.
He's probably like, he thinks I'm gonna steal his car.
Well, I kind of ran into an issue. So
Oh no.
I do that, and I see him come in, and I'm like, all right, hands on the wheel. And he starts-
wanted you to roll down your window.
we're doing that. So he starts getting close, and I'm like, oh, I gotta roll the window down. Well, here are my options.
So hang on.
As he's coming to the car, I can then quickly reach over,
That's
grab the keys, shove them back into the ignition, and turn the car on.
because that won't startle anyone.
Because that won't startle him, or
And hang on, real quick. Just so people out there know, the cops in our town are not jokes.
Oh no,
Like they
they're
are
pulling,
serious.
Yeah, they're pulling everybody over every 5 seconds.
And not only that, like
Really?
they're not.
What would you consider a joke?
Well, like, they're not people who just came out of the academy.
Oh, okay.
The people in our town are actually like headhunting from other towns and brought here.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So we have serious police.
Okay.
So, anyways, so you see
all those traffic citations gives us money to hire
Yeah,
police.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah, there's like 20 everywhere now. So you see my dilemma.
I do. I can see that this.
Wait, what was option 2?
Option
Option 1 was slamming the keys.
Option was slamming the keys and turning the
Option
car
2
real
is
quick.
not be stupid.
Option 2 was to not do that. And again, going back to what have you seen on TV? In cops, in TV shows, I'm like, everyone always just like, there's always a man on the side of the road, outside of the car, talking to officers, so it's not that big of a deal. So he starts getting closer to the thing, and I'm like, instead of him fearing me leaving, I'll let him know I'm staying. And so I open the car door.
Oh, that seems...
Wrong move.
But he pulled his gun on you for that? Or was there more?
No, that was good. It was good enough. So he instantly reaches for his gun, pulls it out. He says, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa! What are you doing?" And I was like, "Opening the door." And said, "Why would you do that? Is your window broken? Is your window broken?" And he's got his gun out, and I'm like, "My hands are." He said, "Put your hands on the wheel." And so I put my hands on the wheel. I'm like, "I'm not a threat, sir." And he said, "Why? Is your window broken?" No. And he instantly goes, "Then why'd you open the door?" And I just said, "Well,"
which is a good question.
Good question, apparently. And so I began to inform him of my logic and my thinking process, how I was really trying to do him a service by putting the keys on the side, and I didn't want to scare him by putting the keys back into the ignition. Mind you, gun's still out.
Sure.
And my hands on the wheel, and I'm talking.
It's like, this guy's lying.
I'm not even looking at him.
Sure.
I'm like, if I can't open the door, eye contact's not happening. So I'm looking forward and talking out of the side of my mouth. And so finally, I calm him down, and he's like, "You look a little scared." And I'm like, "Yeah, you got me." No, I'm an actor.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Eventually, he's like, "Shut the door, put the keys in the ignition," and then of course he does the whole, "Show me your hands." All right, reach over with one hand, and so I do that, and I understand why.
Sure,
I get it.
It's a little more intense.
But I put the keys in the ignition, put the window down. He begins to explain how he needs a door in between me and him.
Sure.
He gave me a ticket. So I did not get out of that one.
It didn't work.
It didn't work.
You being overly polite didn't work.
Yeah, and he even told me, he said, "I don't want you to feel like all this made me give you the ticket."
It was just you going 80 miles.
And I was
And you're thinking well, it didn't help.
I was like, it surely didn't help, sir. So yeah, that was my experience. First time ever having a gun pulled on me by a police officer.
Interesting.
So I got
I thought,
I
thought that we were beyond that. I thought my white privilege had saved me, and apparently it did not.
Why did you say
in that moment?
Oh my god!
I'm just saying.
Oh,
I thought I was safe. I wasn't.
And clearly not.
No, apparently if you act like an idiot.
Darn it! Now I want.
If you act like an idiot, you still do.
Oh boy. Well, see, here's the question: do we want to go down the rabbit hole, or do we want to avoid the rabbit hole?
No, we'll go around. So I got pulled over one time because I had a busted taillight and I didn't know. So
it happens in rabbit holes.
So he pulled me over.
Yes,
but I really did have a broken window, and so he pulled me over, and he got probably me, right next to the window, and I just like opened up my door and nudged it open, and I was like,
"I'm creeping.
Hello, officer." And we moved forward from there.
Was this in Indiana?
This was in Indiana.
Okay.
At like 2 a.m.
I got pulled
and he
over
said, "Hey, fix your tail light." And I said, "Thank you, sir."
Yes, sir.
I got pulled over at like 2 or 3 in the morning coming home from UPS, and it was the same deal. Like when
you work there, or were you just hanging out at UPS?
Yeah, 2 or 3 in the morning is the hot spot with all the packages, built forts.
But so the thing was, though, I had my roommate, one of my roommates in the car, and they asked for his license. I'm like, why do you need his license? I'm the one driving. Why are you doing this? Because I was like, this don't make no sense. And he's like, I just need to make sure he's not a felon. I'm like, do you though?
I just want to know what just happened in that moment because your voice just turned into like a 50s gas station worker. That don't make no sense.
Well, it's a line. I mean,
I draw my camera.
It's a line from something?
It
So
is.
Okay.
I mean, I can talk like that because I grew up in the rural
I mean, you
South.
just did.
Yeah, but
I was with my friends one time. That reminds me of this story. And we got pulled over. I don't know why we got pulled over, but he did. And he
because you're black.
He moved around a Red Explorer, so don't think so.
Sorry. Anyway, keep
But
going.
he asked for all of our licenses. And there was like 4 people in the car, so we were like, whatever. Here you go.
Whatever.
So, he took our licenses and he was back there, and we were just chatting in the car, so we didn't think anything of it. But he was back in his car for like 25 minutes. That's a long time.
It does feel like a long time.
So we didn't think of it. Like, we were just chatting, joking, whatever we were chatting about for, probably superheroes or movies or something stupid. And so, sorry, not stupid.
He was
Something
probably playing
super
RuneScape.
interesting to some people. We were not playing RuneScape.
No, he was.
He
probably
was.
playing-
Oh, so I'm sure he might have been.
He was in the middle of an agility course.
He was just like, gotta make him sweat.
So he comes back, he hands all of our licenses back, and he says, I'm sorry it took so long. Ethan, I'm not going to say his last name for his privacy.
You're under
But
arrest.
my friend Ethan, we were in Indiana, and he said there was another Ethan, last name, in Illinois who's wanted for Grand Theft Auto.
Mm.
And we were like, that's not us.
Was he driving the car?
No, he was passive. But
Case
I guess they did enough research to find out, like, oh, it's not him. Like, he's not.
I mean, they have pictures of the individuals they're referring to.
Yeah, but
Licenses.
Oh, yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
I'm sure it takes a long time to check things.
Sorry, I just wanted to let you guys know what happened.
That was
That's a
interesting.
great story.
Also, wow. Yeah.
I want to listen.
Now,
Don't be polite to the police officer.
Honestly, like,
stop.
the way you
People
approach that in
like
your
police
head,
officers.
Just kidding.
like, I could see how that got there. And then the moment of truth, like, oh, maybe
It's
this
too
wasn't
late.
a
There
good
is
idea.
no win to this situation.
So, is that
Yeah.
the first time you've had a gun pulled on you?
You mean,
No, but the other times would be a little more risque at times.
risque? What kind of situations are you in?
I don't think that's the adjective.
Maybe that's not the wrong word.
That's
Sexy women.
right.
Oh yeah, got the gun pulled out. Baby.
Yeah, it was very seductive moments of guns. No,
That's not the right
Like
adjective.
this kind of gun.
not
Yeah,
risque, but the times were a little bit more
sure.
of an unlawful nature.
So what you're saying is we won't talk about that right now.
So what you were saying is, yes, you've had guns pulled on
Yes.
you other times.
Yes, at least another time.
I've never had a gun pulled on me, but I remember when I was in Atlanta, we heard gunshots every night.
Yeah, I've never had a gun
Every
pulled on me.
night.
Sounds about on par.
I have had somebody
Every
ask me
night.
if I wanted to light up one time, and at the time I was so naive I didn't know what they were talking about. Like, what? What are you talking? I was in Philadelphia.
Really?
Yep. And I was in there in Infuge. I don't know if you know what Infuge is. It's like a teen camp mission trip kind of deal. So we were there. We were doing like outreaches at a park.
Everyone's eating their Philly cheesesteaks.
Nah, there wasn't much eating going on.
All right,
So,
got it. You sounded like there was like some meaning behind it. Oh, what a lot of eating.
no.
They were handing out the bread of life. That's what they were doing.
No, but,
you said
there was
with so much insinuation there.
I can
Insinuation.
I can make anything.
All right. So
Nice
you-
class.
So
you got there.
thank you. So you were in Philly, not eating sandwiches.
No, anyway, but I remember my reaction, like, that's so weird. They asked me if I wanted to light up, and somebody else there was like, dude, that means they were asking if you wanted, like, a joint or something. I was like, oh, is that what? So I went back to them, like, guys, that.
So you went back to the.
Yeah, let's revisit that
That seems
conversation.
like a bad idea. Like, that's not, like, that's just, you shouldn't do that.
Oh
It's
man,
like,
no. So we were in DC and weed's legal there now.
Okay.
But we
Is it? Where is it now? So California, DC, some other
Colorado.
places. Colorado.
Seattle,
Seattle.
like Washington.
Basically anywhere that voted Democrat. So DC is we're at DC. We're at the top of this high rise.
Mhm.
and me and my wife, who would equally have been confused by the term light up.
Your wife?
Yeah, my wife.
Yeah.
So we're in the hot tub, and these guys come and join us, and they're like, "You mind if we smoke?" And I'm like, "Go for it, big dog. I got no problem with that." And so they smoke, and they go, "Oh, kids are coming, because there was a pool, and it was nighttime, and it was like an apartment thing, and so all these kids come in, and very very courteous gentlemen asked if they mind if we smoked, and were considerate of the kids, and so they go off to the corner, and they again were like, "Oh no." So before that, so then so he asked him to light up. His buddy comes over and he goes, "Wrong question. Would you guys like to join us?" And obviously I was, "Well, honey, would you like to join them?" And
so considerate of you.
they're being considerate. I thought I should be considerate. And so my wife's like, no, thank you. But yeah, like, you guys are good. And they're like, "Oh, that's fine. We walk away. They go smoke on the corner. We come back around, and my wife is like, "Yeah, I don't really like cigarettes." And I was like, "What does that mean?" She's like, "Well, those guys, they asked if we wanted to smoke cigarettes with them." And I was like,
Oh no!
No one asked you to join in on their cigarette. Like, that's not a culture. Like
cigarette culture doesn't work
that's
that
not
way.
cigarette culture. So even if she doesn't understand weed culture,
You're not just out of the break room at work.
yeah, but no one's like, "Hey,
man,
you want to try this cigarette? This cigarette's really good.
Hey,
I'm halfway done."
see, this is another example of movies not being real life.
Yeah.
Because movies, you got the people standing outside.
And you're right.
Offering.
That's true. Yeah, no one shares cigarettes. If anyone asks you if you would like some of what they got or to join them, they're offering you drugs. So my wife is equally.
That's right. Well, in my defense, I was like 13 at the time. So
if I would have known, I was like, "Well, cigarette, baby."
I mean, to be honest, I would have said no to either if it was me, because I don't like breathing in things that are on fire. So, square.
I also don't like breathing in things on fire.
Yeah.
You're not a dragon?
No.
The opposite of a dragon?
Yeah. What is the opposite of a dragon?
Human.
Square.
A nagrin. A nagrin? I can't.
Are you trying to say dragon backwards?
I am trying to. It's a pretty bad joke. Made worse by the fact that I can't spell.
And that we have to elaborate on it.
Okay, fire-breathing reptile. So there's no opposite of a reptile. I mean, you can have a mammal.
Question. Do you believe dragons ever really existed?
Well,
to the degree that mythology explains dragons as giant winged lizards or giant winged lizards that breathe fire.
Not to the degree that they were explained. I say explained. Described. I think there are things that were that could breathe fire, and there were probably big things that were scaly, and maybe a combination. I don't think there were things.
You?
Yeah. So far, where's
the flight and the combination of all three.
Okay.
But yeah, I think there were probably things that breathed fire, or something that was similar to fire, like a toxic acid.
Toxic gas or spark.
Well, because what was it? The bombardier beetle
can make a spark or something.
Well, it sprays. It sprays out like a super. It's like a chemical reaction, but I don't think it's directly fire. But it sprays out like a substance that'll burn.
Yeah, I want to say I've heard.
Really?
I want to say I've heard things that talk about they can create a spark, and then they're spitting a certain type of liquid.
Could be, yeah.
That's flammable.
But
so it's not necessarily the
beetle,
creation of fire.
But they spark it.
Yeah, spark it and spit.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah,
but
it's a beetle.
Don't quote me on that.
The thing I'm thinking of is a bombardier beetle, and so I think there have been some bone structures for things that people thought were dinosaurs that they thought might have had the capability of making a chemical reaction to do fire. So fire breathing doesn't seem completely far-fetched to me, and obviously we had big scaly monster creatures at some point maybe.
I like how you just said obviously maybe.
Yeah.
Obviously we had this maybe. Cover all your bases.
Yeah.
I'm certain, but yet, who knows?
So it works every time. It's part of the time.
Works every time, half the time. What about you, Eric? You believe in the classical dragon?
I don't know. I'm really torn because I want to say yes because I don't think it's that far fetched.
But see, it also means you have to believe in the classical princess.
Which I, of course, do.
Oh.
Obviously, maybe.
So the problem I have with the idea is, why is it that all the excavations that we've done, we've never found a city that had giant scorch marks all over it that could have only come from something giant breathing fire?
Okay.
Now, you could argue that the dragon just destroyed the cities and those aren't there anymore.
Or that the point where they existed wasn't a point where they had big cities like that.
Yeah, I would say...
Well, where they existed is crucial. There's the Chinese dragon.
Yeah,
versus
I would say probably not
the
to
English.
not like the flying fire breathing dragons as much as I want them to.
Like knights fighting.
But like, yeah. But I could see there at one time being like giant serpents in the water or something that were known as dragons.
Okay. Sure. I could see that too. But then you're just getting into semantics.
Well, no, I said I don't think the medieval flying fire breathing.
He agreed with you on the flying aspect, and then he also.
So the question is the medieval fantasy one. I don't think that dragon exists. As much.
And then you
as
changed the question. We're like, I think
Yeah. So
something
when I
else.
say do dragons exist, you're like, yeah, but not dragons. Like you changed the definition. Yes, but no.
But I answered the question.
So
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
kind of, sort of.
I would say no. I really want them to have, because I want them to be super cool.
Yeah.
But the problem is, we haven't really found one.
Also, how do they eat?
They roasted the stuff and ate it.
With teeth and a throat.
That's why they spawn people.
Stomachs.
I want to say I saw like a documentary long ago where they found one that was like encapsulated in ice.
That doesn't seem like a documentary. That's
Yeah, I feel like it was a documentary where they found a dragon, but
No, I want to say I saw it, but then the rest of it was
But
like,
that would be a
yeah,
lie.
Well, no, I saw the documentary. It
Yeah.
just seems like it was a made-up documentary now.
So it seems like aliens.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
yeah, I don't know, man.
The
I
History Channel.
I think the serpent argument is much better because looking at like biblical languages and things like that, how when the text uses the word dragon, it's actually a reference to serpent, and how serpent isn't actually a reference to snake; it's a reference to dragon. And so, kind of having this idea of a creature that crawls on its belly, that once didn't crawl on its belly. Is also very consistent with what we know about medieval ideas of dragons that kind of just like always just very low to
Like
the ground.
iguanodons. Is it iguanodons? I think it's iguanodons. Like monitor lizards.
Like Komodo dragon.
Iguanodon is a dinosaur. So, yeah.
The whole fire breathing thing, I mean, I can take it or leave it. That's whatever. But I definitely think there was dinosaur looking things that were considered to be called serpents or dragons by different cultures. Because even what's interesting is this concept. So we have this idea. Watch this one documentary. I watched some documentaries.
Usually while driving.
Where we have this idea of the medieval man fighting a giant reptilian creature, and we say that's fantasy. But then we have like certain bones, certain archaeological sites in America that, based off how they lay, you do find dinosaurs and humans in the same population in the same areas, and you even find in Native American cave writings from 6,000-7,000 years ago them depicting like triceratopses and drawing these things like that. So to think that maybe, and I think it was even sooner than that, like 4,000 years ago, to think that certain cultures and certain places could have derived these myths from actual human interactions with fighting large reptilian creatures could easily become stories of what we exaggerate to become fire-breathing dragons.
And also, like
if I fought a T-Rex, I'd be like, that's a dragon.
But like,
I wonder how the fire breathing part came to be. Like if
scary.
Well, sure, but if, for example,
Makes
like,
it more fantastical.
Yeah, I mean, it could just be an exaggeration, but that seems like a random exaggeration.
Well,
to
fire
have.
was kind of
Why not spit water?
Well, fire was kind of like the most powerful
Water
thing they really
spitting.
had.
It was one of the what?
It was like one of the most powerful things that they really had.
Yeah,
And, like,
and again, I can see a circumstance where somebody just said, "Oh yeah, it breathes fire," and so that could happen. But also, I'm curious as to like what kinds of things could make somebody say, "Oh yeah, it breathes fire." Like, so that's why I'm thinking like acid streams or something like that.
and like back to the cave drawing thing, like if we didn't have the media that we have right now, pictures, videos, all that. If we only carved stuff on cave walls or painted with mud, and then we know, the rhino is on its way out.
Yeah.
And if we were in Africa fighting rhinos to survive or whatever,
That sounds like a book.
but then our only means of media and passing on to the next generation is carving it on the wall. Then the rhinos die out.
Then no one believes rhinos.
And then 1,000 years, they say, "Oh, that's fantasy."
Yeah. It was always interesting to me to think about a rhino as a
10,000
unicorn.
What?
Yeah, or all
I said it was always interesting to me to think about a rhino as a unicorn. Like, I wonder if like now we think of unicorns as like horses with a horn, but I wonder if the first descriptions of that were really just a rhino.
I think that people don't believe that.
Well, I would imagine
Really?
so.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of a funny.
That they look like horses with things.
I do want to address any archaeologists or geologists out there. I know it's more complicated than just cave walls,
But we're smarter than you, so.
but we're not.
Listen
Yeah, I know virtually nothing.
But if you believe in dragons, let us know.
They're like fairies. If you believe in them, yeah.
So, speaking of African stuff, you took a trip to Africa. And I know you have some stories.
And he saw a dragon.
Have you heard his stories from Africa?
Probably not.
Let's talk about your stories.
Yeah, they're crazy. So I'll talk about African story, but I will answer that question that we quickly went away from about the craziest airplane trip.
Oh, okay.
So mine was on the trip to Africa. Like, whenever you see like 50 African people in all white garb just get up on an airplane, things get crazy.
That sounds like it's like a what on earth?
Yeah.
And they all got up at once.
Oh yeah, they just all got up. And they started
Like-
to sing
like
a pretty little melody.
Okay, I was gonna-
they were
I was
just
gonna say
they were just an
sounded
African
like
church.
that sounded like a choir, but I didn't want to say that because I was
Yeah.
like, that's a stereotype.
Yeah, they're all white. Everyone's wearing all white. You're like, what the heck is going on? And then they just start singing because they're happy that they had made it on the trip. So
That's
like, all right,
cool.
cool.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
Sounds way better than my flight to London where babies scream the entire time.
Yeah. What do you?
They were training for. They were trying to be the choir. They just were doing a bad job.
Yeah, they did a bad job.
What do you want to hear from my 3 months in Botswana?
When did this happen?
I love.
4 years ago, 3 years ago.
It was my first year at the current job I have, so that was 4 years ago.
Yeah, it was the best moment. As soon as I got a promotion for work, I said, by the way, can I take 3 months off to go to Africa? I said, sure.
3 months. Yeah, you were gone forever.
The whole summer.
Was that wasn't a honeymoon?
No,
I wasn't married yet.
It's like 3 or 4 years.
You hadn't even met Lindsay at that time.
Yeah, we were dating.
You were. I love securing the kill.
Oh, okay. Securing the kill story. Okay.
So were you there on a mission trip or just randomly there?
Yeah, just whatever happened.
He was on a mission.
Yeah, it was random. No, I like the word random. It was random.
I
I spun the wheel on the
ticket.
ticket and I said, "You pick, sir. Where do you want to go? Your choice."
Africa it is.
Yeah. No, we went with some friends from our church. But yeah, so we went to Africa, and apparently everyone there is
Real quick, I would like to recommend that what he is about to tell, don't try.
unless you're from
Unless you know what you're doing.
unless you're from Africa. So
And if you're from Africa, why are you taking our recommendations anyway?
Yeah, that's a good point.
So we're in Africa, and apparently everyone in Africa is crazy. So just like in America, you have your hillbilly rednecks who aren't afraid to be buffoons. There is a form of hillbilly redneck in Africa, and they typically derive from South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of them actually go and they own these big swaths of land where wild animals roam, and they take tourists out there. And
Like safari.
yeah, safari. You know the word safari. So
I do. I'm well read.
well versed in safaris. So one of the guys was just talking about how he was describing the difference between carnivores and omnivores and herbivores. And
Don't we know this?
well, so it all started because we're out in the African wilderness,
Mhm.
and I got questions like, what do I do if a lion comes up? What do I do? Like, and so I start, oh, you'll be fine. So then I start searching and prying for the stories that you're not fine.
Yeah, you want the stories.
I want the real stuff. So give me the goods. And so he starts to give me the goods, and the guy's driving.
He's probably just making it up.
Maybe. But he starts retelling of a South African man that owned one of those areas, and he would regularly take people out on safari trips. And so people pay, they stay with him, and then during the day they go out.
Mhm.
So, but anyways, so he was describing the difference first between carnivores and herbivores, and saying how herbivores are the most dangerous because
Okay.
herbivores don't have to hunt to survive, so every threat is a threat on their life. Whereas a carnivore who hunts to survive, if they feel threatened, will run away. Because if you hurt them, they die. Whereas
They can't hunt.
They can't hunt. Whereas a herbivore, he can waddle his way over to the next point. Somehow. Yeah. So, anyways,
Okay.
so he's talking about that, and then that proceeded into the conversation about the crazy South African guys that wear short shorts up to here and have big boots on, and they're shirtless with a cowboy hat on, and how he would take these people out. And so one night, they go and hear some noise. So apparently, up on this hill is where the camp is, where all the tourists come. Then there is a rift where a river was that's dried up.
Mhm.
So because it's dried up, there is a lack of animals that have come
Okay.
there. Wildebeest and zebras usually come. And he said because there's a lack, there is a war going on between lions and hyenas. Kind of like the movie Lion King.
Because they're fighting over the same
Because they're
prey.
fighting over the same prey. And
Okay.
so in the middle of the night, the head man hears this, and he knows what's going on. It's lions and hyenas fighting for kills. So he goes, there's been a kill. He said, you guys want to go see it. And so...
And the answer to that question is?
Of course. Well, and not knowing what that involves. And so there's about 50 people that are on this tour. And so, yeah. No, they're like, yeah, we want to go. He said, so everyone, all right, let's go. Get your torches on. And so if you're ever in Africa and you hear the word torch, that is not, it's your head flashlight.
Oh, okay.
It's not a torch. And so they get the head flashlight, and he said, don't bring anything else, let's just go. And so they go down the hill, and they make their truck out into the wilderness in the dark, and the stars are out. And in Africa, there's no light, but you can kind of see because of the stars. And they start making their way out, and they get to this area, like a broken down area, and he starts telling everybody go down and grab a brick. And so everyone grabs a brick, and they start walking a little bit further. And it's getting pretty long, so some people just like bump this, and they turn around and go right back. But they go a little bit further out, and they hear it, and one of the guys goes, what's the brick for? He said, well, protection. If any of them come at you, throw the brick. That lost about like 10 people.
Yeah.
So as soon as the word danger came in, they were done. So they head back, and people move on, and they get about another 30 yards, 40 yards out, and
you're still with them.
Yeah,
you're still with them.
And he's like, turn your torches off.
Okay.
Why? Well, they can't see us coming. So that loses about another half of the people. The moment you start to say, turn your torches off. So they go back. So now you got about like 10 people left with this one guy. And they go further out. And he goes, stay right here. I got to go secure the kill. What? And he said, so secure the kill. So apparently, when there's a kill and hyenas have they've surrounded it, they've killed it, and they get surrounded, and there's a pile of hyenas that are just nipping at it, pulling flesh out, all this other stuff. He said, so what you do is, remember they're carnivores, so they get scared. He said, so what you do is you run out of the woods out of nowhere, and you jump on the dead carcass. And you're jumping on top of hyenas, and hyenas are all around you. And he said, they scatter because they're afraid. He said, then you drag the carcass with you, and you cut it up a little into pieces, and you drag it, and then that way you can bring it to a spot where you're already at, and you can watch them come follow back up to it, and you can watch them eat it. And
that seems suicidal.
So that is what that guy proceeded to do, and everyone got to watch.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say he died.
No, he died. No, he did not die. Apparently,
he ran out there.
Jumps on this hyena pit. Hyenas run away. Good thing, I guess it wasn't a lion pit. He didn't really say what happens if it was actually.
Yeah, what happens if you jump on lions? Like, are they scaredy cats?
Yeah,
too,
no, I don't.
They're a little bigger.
They're cats, but
bigger,
they're definitely a little bigger.
They're a little bigger.
But yeah, so that's what he talked about, and that's what happened. And so yeah, if you ever want to see a carcass from a hyena kill, you're gonna have to swan dive into a pit of hyenas,
Or find this guy.
or find a crazy South African who'll do it for you.
Remember his name?
I don't know, Dingo.
Jeb.
Or something.
Dingo. I'm sure his name was Dingo.
Very closely related to the Australian side.
Come on.
Now, would you rather be chased by a bear or by a lion? Or like attacked by a bear or by
Gosh,
a lion?
that's not even like a hypothetical. So the question is like, how would you like to severely be mauled?
Yeah.
How far would you like to run before you maul? Like, isn't it's
Like, I feel like
There's
I
if
feel
you're
like
gonna
I'd
add a
have some chance against a bear
Okay.
and no chance against a lion.
but if you're gonna add a hypothetical, there has to be some element of either surviving or lessening the pain. And I don't know the difference between the way a bear's about to kill me and a lion's about to kill me
Well,
to make
lion
any
will
kind of
crush
judgment.
So will the bear?
Oh, okay. So when the lion,
Look-
there's tons of videos where the lion just jumps up and starts mauling on your back and your neck.
Look, I've seen The Revenant.
A bear does the same thing. He hits you, starts mauling on you.
Yeah, but a bear, you can apparently, and I don't know if this is true or just a myth, you can run down a steep incline and they might overbalance and.
I will choose the lion only because of the other story that the guy told me.
Okay, there's another story.
So same guy.
Same guy, Dingo.
You just gotta jump on it.
Eventually he dies, but not from these carnivores. It's from anaconda.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
That's sad.
it happens. You know, it kind of comes with the territory. Get it? The territory.
Yeah, I was gonna say little one.
So again, I remember I told you they
My
live
life
up
is
on this
complete.
hill, and where the resort is.
Yeah, I like
And
that your arm is just like completely out of
Sorry.
frame.
Hill,
Yeah, sorry.
and then the embankment where a river used to be.
Yeah.
So he said,
Same place.
Yeah, same place. So he said he's just down there, and he said he's just walking in the embankment, and he turns around, and 50 yards away is a female lion charging him
In charge.
in full sprint down
In
the track,
in this
coming for you.
ditch.
Yes, in this
Straight
ditch,
at him.
coming. He's the only one in the ditch. She's the only one in the ditch.
Or maybe you're looking at someone else.
Yeah. Maybe he's running after something else. No, she's running after him. He turns, and he's like, I don't know what to do. So he's like,
Get a brick.
And no bricks were there. And so he just starts running full sprint at her.
Okay.
And
I mean, yeah.
he's got his hands up. He's trying to get loud and big, trying to make himself seem ferocious, like he's not afraid. And he's yelling, running at her. And they're just coming. And he says right before they make contact, she diverges off. And he just keeps going.
That's interesting.
Now,
I don't recommend doing that
but
at
then
all.
there's opposite stories where they say like, no, you don't do that. You don't break eye contact, and you stare at them. And so there's stories of men that
I'm sure he was doing that.
Okay, but you're not supposed to move. That part of that was also don't move, don't make aggression, and don't make weakness. And so they would just stare down the lion. There's like stories of a guy for like 9 hours staring down a lion.
That's gotta get tiring.
Yeah.
Better than being dead.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Or-
you have to keep your eyes open for 9 hours.
Or as I said, what's the scariest story? And he said, well, we're at a campfire. And he said, and the scariest thing is when you're at a campfire in the middle of the wilderness, which he's telling this while we're at a campfire in the middle of the wilderness.
Of course.
It's wonderful. And he says, and you see as far as the fire goes. He said,
You
and
see
then,
shapes like on the edge.
he said, and then you just see a face, the mane of a male lion, just walk into the light of the of the camp. And he just starts. He said, the loudest, most deep, shaking roar that just permeates everything. And he's like, and you don't do it because again, if you run away, you're prey. They know it instantly. Only prey runs from it. That's why you run at them sometimes. It's because they fear it, but also
They don't know what suicide is.
Yeah. And he said, so then everyone's quiet. What do you do? What do we do? Just sit there and just roar. He said, then on the other side, a second one, male lion comes up, and he starts roaring. And he said about 15, 20 minutes of just deep roaring back and forth at the edge of this camplight while they're all just sitting there in their chairs.
You're surely pooping them.
Oh, pooping themselves. Yeah, feces everywhere.
Gosh.
So it was, Africa is a fun place. You should vacation there. Take a family. It's like a water park.
Oh my god.
Except more attractions. You don't got to pay for the attractions.
So if you're ever in a ravine and you find a female lion charging at you,
run at her,
and you know you're gonna die, you might as well throw the dice.
Yeah. Assert your male dominance over her.
Even if you're a female.
And if you're in a campfire when lions want to roar, just let them roar.
They say, the three rules: let sleeping dogs lie, let roaring lions roar,
Yeah.
and run at charging lionesses.
That's right. So yeah, that was some stories from my time there. Yeah, there's more, but
Okay.
I can't imagine sitting in a. First off, I can't imagine. I've never heard a lion roar, like really roar.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And I can't imagine
They're big.
sitting at a campfire here.
They're big. They're bigger than you expect.
Yeah.
No, I think the one situation I think would be worse was not because you speak of like would you rather. So
what about both?
So my tour guide one time, an African gentleman,
Dingo?
not different guy, and a beautiful black gentleman, came and he said, I was driving, and I was asking him the similar questions. What's the craziest stuff? What have you been the most afraid? And he gave me the perfect would you rather. He said, so we're driving out in the safari, and this is during the wet season, which is the perfect season to go to Africa because all the snakes are out.
Yay!
Yay! And it's hotter.
Yay!
Yay! Double yay. And he said they're driving through the bush, and they hit a big hump.
Oh boy.
And now they're kind of stuck over the hump. And he said he looks down and he sees a snake's body crossing over the tracks into this way, into the grass, and it's crossing this way into the tracks. And he says they look to their right, and a giant snake's head pops out of the grass, comes up to the 6-foot eye level of them in their vehicle, and starts to come to the vehicle to wrap itself around the vehicle. So they jump out.
Mm-hmm.
And they jump out and they run around the corner to find some pretty lions sitting around the corner. So what do? Do you play with the kitties? Or do you take the snake?
I think you can take the snake. I think there's enough there's enough people. If it's one snake.
Mind you, a snake large enough to cross and to cover and surround your Jeep.
Yeah, but I don't think it's going to wrap up multiple people at one time.
Okay, so you're saying based off the amount of people you may have, it's a safer bet.
Yeah, like I think if it's getting attacked from multiple angles, it's going to try to get away. Like, it thinks it's got a single prey. And so it's like, gotta eat this thing. It's big. It'll preserve me for a while. Versus the lions, lions, lots of lions. That's my thought on that.
I think
I mean, they probably had machetes or something, right? Maybe if they were going out into the
Yeah,
bush.
everyone has a machete. No,
I would assume if you're going out into the bush, you have some kind of.
they had a vehicle.
I mean, either one
These lions are
sucks.
protected.
Either one is horrible. I would say maybe the lions, just because like you have a group, and so like if you charge
That
them,
works so
or
well
like
for zebras.
yeah, but zebras ignore
Right.
them.
Yeah, because remember, go back to the predator or prey. Are you someone who's a threat to them and may cause fear for them, or are you prey who's running from them and it's a guarantee they know they're going to kill you?
Also, zebras are confused.
So
You just wear.
I mean, like
striped shirts.
both of them are bad and both seem awful. But I would say like as a collective group, the numbers may help you with the
Yeah, so he ended up choosing.
wait, what's your answer?
Well,
I guess
my
you
answer
know the
was
answer.
going to be what his answer
I guess
was.
you know the answer.
Yeah, the answer, he chose the snake. So they went back, but not.
So I'm dead.
Yeah,
I'm dead.
yeah, you died.
All right,
No,
don't
but
choose the lions. I'm dead.
He went back and he said by the time they got back around the corner, the snake had moved on and was not on it
It's
anymore.
like, this is not very
Yeah.
pliant.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's hopefully never have to make that kind of choice.
Yeah. That'd be a little nerve wracking if you were the one near the snake's head.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get him.
We're closing in on an hour. Probably got a couple minutes left. Anyone have any recommendations for people? Podcast, TV show, book, anything?
Well, Cradle series by Will White. That's my recommendation for the last few months.
The Cradle series, book series
It is a book series.
by Will White.
Wight. White.
I don't know if you've been living under a rock, but Great British Baking Show, amazing.
That's what it's called, the Great British Baking Show.
Someone who lives under a rock.
Have you not heard of the Great British Baking?
It is wonderful.
No, I've not heard of it.
Yeah, I've only heard good things. I've never heard anyone say anything bad.
I love
I
it.
do.
You've never
You
heard
would
of
like
it?
to
No, I have,
watch-
No, because we have a friend. Remember Devin?
Yeah.
He started watching it, and then he thought I could learn how to do that, and he started cooking and won a contest at the local seminary.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
I would recommend the Great British Baking Show.
Found on Netflix.
Found on Netflix for entertainment.
And education.
If you're looking for a good biography, the biography of Jonathan Edwards is a wonderful read as well.
Is it a good read or is the subject matter good? Meaning, is it good? Is it good to read, or do you enjoy reading it because it's well written? And both. Like, do you see what I'm trying to get at?
Everything you said just sounds the same.
Okay. Do you like reading about Jonathan Edwards, or do you like reading about Jonathan Edwards because it's well written?
His life and the way the book is written is very interesting.
So both are okay. That's what I was trying to.
Maybe that's why Simon said it.
Cradle series. Will White. Great British Baking Show. Netflix.
That's right.
Jonathan Edwards.
Read his bio.
Read his bios. We are out of time. Thank you for watching Coffee Unfiltered. You can find our social media platforms in the description below. Please follow us. Hit that like button. Subscribe. I feel dirty for saying that. Hit that alarm. Tell you when to go. Another video hits it.
Why do you feel dirty for saying that?
I don't know. Just saying.
Sounds
Like
like-
Hey.
asking people to like. I feel like if they like it, they're just gonna like it.
Like me, please.
It's not quite how that works because they like it in here, but they have to like it here.
Click that button. We'll see you next time.